premiere for the famous GTS trim for the new Porsche Macan. The first exclusive tour here for you today, and also a very interesting opportunity to compare the Macan electric to the all-new Cayenne electric, the bigger brother. What are the main differences, exterior and interior, also to come in this review. With Thomas now to Gefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with the sportiest Macan model, not the quickest one, but still the sportiest one. What do they mean by that? Let's find out. The Macan here in the typical GTS red color and more black accentuations. We can already see it here in the lower area. And special to the Macan is always that you can directly open the front right here, even just with a swiping gesture here in the front. That's a practical thing. And then you can also put even more than just a cable in here. And of course, we press the crest to properly close it again. By the way, here, look at that. It's a beautiful key fob cover with Alcantara. I would love that, you know. So nice, yeah, nice key fob cover here indeed. And matrix LED here with a black tinting behind. This also fits this black and red GTS scheme. Of course, you can also get it in different exterior colors, but the black details, that's always about the GTS. For example, you can see here the black inserts right here in the side profile. And it's a big difference also if you compare the normal version. For example, we have like a 4S standing over there. So there you have more body color in this area here. Then the length is 4.81 meters or 189 inches. That is actually a little bit longer than a normal Macan because of the spoiler overhangs. Large wheels, 21, or here the 22-inch wheels. Largest one available here, also then in black, Spider style. Yeah, I love this retro Porsche Spider wheel style, definitely. And towards the rear, light strip going all the way through. Then you have a small black spoiler here, also darkened out Porsche logo, Macan GTS, lettering also in black, and a distinctive lower spoiler. Looks like, you know, combustion engine world, but it's like this diffuser style. Aerodynamics, of course, always a big thing. And this is also way different than we compare again the 4S model I filmed for you earlier. And the important facts and figures, first of all, technology-wise, air suspension is standard, but with a sportier setup here for the GTS. And by that, this one gets the lowest center of gravity from the whole model range here from the electric Macan. So very interesting aspect. So that's also what I mean by this is the sportiest model. It's the sportiest driving one. Acceleration figure, 3.8 seconds, 0 to 1 kilometers an hour, 62 miles an hour, really quick. But the Macan Turbo would be half a second quicker. So again, the Turbo is the quickest one, but the GTS is the sportiest one. That's the logic. 95 kilowatt hour battery and gets you realistic real-world range on the motorway with like significant speeds, 5 kilometers, 300 miles, something about that. Recharging also pretty quick, 21 minutes, 10 to 80% state of charge. 270 kilowatt charging peak. And what else is important? Optional, you could also get the rear axis steering, then the rear wheels turn in the opposite direction than the front wheels. That would be another technology highlight. And later on, we'll also talk about the prices. By the way, what's also pretty cool here, when I close the electric charging flap here with AC and DC on this side, here I can go around and I can open the other one on the other side because there you have additional AC charging. And the AC is 11 or optional 22 kilowatt. Now, of course, the interior, some more facts before we get to that. All-wheel drive, of course, one electric motor in the rear, one in the front. For the rear, you also have an electronic differential lock to get you better out of the corners, and 571 horsepower. Now to the interior with the door closing sound. There we go. That's solid. There we go. Ah, okay. It's interesting. You saw that I was struggling a little bit. The thing is that it has like a two-level step like this, and then there's another one. And the thing is, like, even when you just pull it like a little bit, it pops a little bit towards you. So you gotta get used to that. Here we also have the laminated glass, both front and in the rear. Then instead of the door, everything really horizontal stress, typical for Porsche. Carbon fiber inserts here, different ones are available. Microfiber use, race tex they call it, to be free with the suppliers. And then here, nice clicking sounds with the window levers. I like that. This one is hard pack here though. So no fabric cover or something like that. GTS entry badge, and also the floor mats with the red contrast stitching. And Also here the Racex, the microfiber steering wheel, good grip, I love that. And with the carbon fiber contrast, here also in the lower part, GTS badge, and real buttons at the steering wheel, easy for the volume change or to control the digital instruments, and some more microfiber here, as well as on the seats. So these GTS sport seats, a lot of shoulder accentuation here, and the microfiber pattern on the middle part. It is a special one. It's not like it would be going through. You see they have these kind of things like imprinted there somehow. You gotta say though that this makes it less microfiber in a way, you know what I mean? So you can see the difference here when the microfiber goes all the way through. This might look nice, but this is, you know, more microfiber than here when you touch and feel it. So yeah, that's maybe then pro and con. Seat is indeed very sporty, but it has good ergonomics. It is kinda stiff though, you know, so it doesn't have a lot of seating depth. And here with 189, 6'2", still have a lot of headroom left. And here they have this beautiful microfiber headliner here, goes all the way through from the front and the rear. Yeah, this really very well fits to that vehicle. Beautiful. Steering wheel control, electric, up and down, in and out. And indeed, also if you compare, for example, the bigger Cayenne brother, this one here directly is a little bit more, you know, compact and engaging already when you sit here. So I really feel like definitely gonna start driving this one. And now to the cockpit. Lovely once again, more race text, for example here in the lower dashboard area. You can also get this passenger screen here. Other than that, the horizontal stress of the screen here in the middle part, that's also a difference to the new Cayenne electric, for example. This is where you put in the gears, drive forward, park or reverse. And once again, the perspective on the sport seats with the red contrast. And here we also have the red contrast for the seat belts, for example. Then we have this quite large middle console. This is relatively hard for the knees here, left and right. Underneath, you could grab it. Then there are some adaptive cup holders here, front and rear, and some more space in the lower part. On the top part, I love this metal knurling. There's like some space, but yeah, you would put your smartphone in there for inductive charging. You could also put a cable right here underneath. I do prefer the cable charging, honestly. And the temperature unit here, this is pretty cool. Always with the metal knurled knobs and the nice clicking sounds. So I like to have this physical interface in the vehicle here that makes this classic feeling. And also here for the volume jog, just listen to that. We need more stuff like that, definitely. However, you still have the modern gauges in the vehicle here. You can also set the charging stuff here. You can also open the charging flaps. I did that earlier, for example, and on both sides. Very practical thing that this is actually possible. And of course, the Apple CarPlay connection is also in here, Android Auto. And you could also retract the spoiler here from the inside. That always looks fancy, definitely. Then I can just stress again, microfiber steering wheel. I personally love it. Always the great grip, and also classic stalk columns left and right here. And these digital instruments, they're a little bit curved, and it's cool to have this round gauge in the middle part for the speed, but you can also individualize it a little bit. And there's also a large head-up display. And of course, not to miss it, here one of the main features, the analog clock in the central part. By the way, this middle armrest is only open and close, so more space underneath. There's no like other adjustment possible, and here's nice that we have it here embossed, the GTS logo once again. And you can of course comp it in both directions, the race text again. And the rear seats, you remember the windows, also frameless, and they have this lamination on the inside. And then here, this is the inside door handle, more race text used right here, but hard back once again in the lower part. As you can see, you also have the same race text pattern here. And the thing is, the GTS version has more race text overall, but at the same time, also more animal skin. So it's not the animal-friendly version, so to speak. And the base Macan would be available also with leatherette seats, but then again, the steering wheel is not race text, so yeah, they don't have such good offerings there in this respect yet. Then here, the middle console, you can put this one down, nice adaptive cup holders, also build quality is pretty nice. just hear like the closing mechanism always like a little bit loud. We have that in the new Cayenne as well. Then we also have a full AC unit here for the rear passengers with manual controls. That's cool. Also seat heating is available in the rear. And space-wise, it does fit for tall adults, even if I am driving. Not too much space, but you get along. Also pretty stiff from the bolstering, and headroom here with 1A9 6'2" also fits. Even in the heat of Dubai, we need to check the trunk or the boot in the measures. Here, by the way, the hidden button to open the trunk or the boot is actually nice design integration. You just have to know where it is. And here we go with the normal width of 1.40 meters, normal length about 90 centimeters or like almost 36 inches. Underneath here, that's the Bose subwoofer, so not too much space left here. In the side arches here, there you can store some stuff. And what's cool is that you can here remotely unlock the seats and then they fold flat. That's pretty neat actually. And here we have the length of about 67 inches or 1 meters and 70. And we have a pretty massive boot cover here. There we go. Take some time to unlock it. There we go. And then we pull it. That should also be good for the sound and so on. There we go. And then, well, height is actually it's not that high, but we're at least here about like 26 inches or 66 centimeters. So overall, I think, well, usable. What do you think? And about the pricing, so a normal Macan would already start around 80,000 euros. Then the GTS model already more than 100,000 euros. And if you, of course, spec some things, you can easily add up some 20,000 euros. So as it stands here right now, it can easily be more than 120,000 euros. Hefty pricing, definitely. Quite large battery already, and of course great performance. And now the differences. Macan electric to the new Cayenne electric, the bigger brother here in the top turbo spec here. We of course also expect a GTS version later on. Similar face of course, but a larger, longer vehicle. Here this one is 18 centimeters or 7 inches longer. Yeah, about like this. Also then here with the largest wheels in 22-inch. Similar Spider design here. So tell me in the comments, which one do you like better from the look? They come very close in the exterior design, don't they? And in the rear, I would say as well. So they have this electric SUV design language, so to speak. And on the technology side, biggest difference is the battery size. We had 95 with the Macan, here 108. So this is then, now calculate in your head very quickly. So this is then 13 kilowatt hours more in the battery capacity. Then again, will it really give you so much more range? Because also the larger vehicle and so on. Yeah, I think it will get a little bit more range. It's more, of course, then depending on how you use the throttle. It's also quite efficient in the aerodynamics, you know. So, and a longer vehicle doesn't mean necessarily worse in the electric vehicle world. The weight here, by the way, the turbo is the heaviest Porsche ever built. So this is here more than 2.6 tons. And on the other suspension side and so on, also gets an air suspension, also can get rear extra steering. One difference is that this one also can be equipped with the Porsche Active Ride, this additional hydraulic technology. And we will also now check out the interior differences. And quickly about the pricing, well, this one here will be at least 25,000 euros more expensive. With equipment and so on, the price difference will be even larger. And the comparison here to the Cayenne electric in the interior, there's more going on here, especially with this new screen, which has split a lot of opinions here with this curved screen, more this vertical layout. This is of course a spectacular feature. You can also have this overlay in the lower part, optional also the passenger screen. And this middle console is larger and higher. It's actually nice in an ergonomic way that this is here higher. You can put your hand like here. This is how it's meant to be, and you still have the manual interface. Steering wheel interface is also pretty similar actually. So the screen is like the main difference, and also how the middle console is oriented. So this one is higher. At the same time, everything with the cup holders here inside, this is then again lower and even deeper in there. And also seating wise, these are also the sports seats in the turbo, and gotta say that I wouldn't necessarily say that they are more comfortable or so, because the seating depth is also, it's actually quite stiff. So yes, you have a more compact racier feeling in the Macan, but I would not say that this is much more comfortable here in the Cayenne. This is yeah, also a surprise to me. So it's more about what do you want going on here. So the Macan, I would say, lets you a little bit more focused. This one here is more than tech oriented here, especially with this new screen and so on. Yeah, looking forward to how it is in the rear. And especially, I would really like to know your opinion if you prefer the Macan or the Cayenne electric interior here. Main difference here, rather in the rear, I would say, because you have more legroom. That's of course where the additional length plays a role. And yeah, you can be a little more comfortable here, also from the rear seating position. That's to me the main difference. So indeed, cockpit, front more the layout, in the front more like the layout and the stuff. But in the rear, if you really need that space in the rear, that would be a crucial thing. And the trunk, of course, is larger with the Cayenne electric. Here, and the main difference is where the Macan trunk would end like here, this one ends here. So this is like also what you gain with this additional length then. We also have some driving reviews of the Macan already right here, if you're interested in that, or if you want directly to compare the Cayenne electric, the bigger brother.